Hi, I'm Matt from Jaggers Brewing Co. Today I'm going to be talking about our successes and maybe possibly some of our failures from the 2023 competition year that I participated in. So right now I've got second brewing of my pre-prohibition lager. I'm not too ecstatic about this particular batch. I think we had some fermentation issues, a little bit of off flavors, and it's not bad enough to pour out, but once I tap the Lichtenheiner that I brewed the other day and live streamed, I'll probably go ahead and dump this keg and put the Lichtenheiner in there. So cheers. Let me take a drink of this and we'll start talking about how we performed on the Lonestar circuit this year. So, first off, I'd like to congratulate my fellow Brew Club members on the circuit win. We won as a club for the first place in the Lonestar circuit, so pretty ecstatic about that. Barry and Masternauts, man, we really kicked it into high gear this year and took off with it. So that's pretty exciting. Hopefully we can defend that title for 2024. If you're semi-interested in homebrew competitions, come check out the Master Homebrew program. Link will be in the description, along with everything that I talk about for some of these recipes and past videos that I've done and etc. So let's get started with the biggest one, in my opinion, that kind of kicked the year off for me, and that was the Roggenbier. I won a medal, being this one, the bronze at OpFerm. Funny thing is that was from the 2022 version, the stockpile there. So that one finally hit off for me. I was super ecstatic about that. I'm really happy that that Roggenbier did something. The 2023 version didn't do as well in the circuit. Looking at my notes here, kind of scoring a little bit in the lower 30s, and my biggest takeaway from the notes that getting on the 23 version, comparing them to the 22 version, is that I need to kind of maybe rein in a little bit of the some of the esters and stuff like that. I need to kind of get a little bit more hop expression, a little bit more rye expression from the 2023 version. So like I said, we need to focus it back a little bit more towards the 2022, which the biggest differences between those two recipes, honestly, was that I had done temperature control for that. I had chilled the wort, and I think I changed the hops around a little bit. So I did change up quite a bit at one time, and looking back, I probably should have just stuck with chilling the wort, temperature controlling that, and see how the 2022 version of the recipe went. I had a lot of notes for things like hop profile and things like that, so that's why I changed that up for the 23. So we're going to take another look back at the 2022 version and see where we land going into 24. So the OpFerm medal was kind of towards at the beginning of the year, and I got another medal, and it was kind of towards the end of the year. I think it was the second to last competition for the year on the circuit, and that was the Limbo Challenge. So the American wheat called American Triche scored a silver. It medaled at a 40, and the first time out was pretty exciting to me. It scored a 37 at a previous competition. Let's see here. The biggest notes out of it really was that it need a little bit more carbonation and a touch more malt character. This is one of those beers I didn't particularly care for last year. I just felt it kind of lacking a little bit, and some areas, and kind of just overall. So it's pretty good to see the way that that thing trended between sharing it with my friends, my family, and then entering it on the circuit. It kind of hitting those mid 30s, you know, higher mid 30s. So that was pretty cool. I will say that the time that it tasted the best to me was when we were celebrating the medal that night. I had a little bit left in the keg. I think there was probably a total three pints or so left during that whole time when that competition was going on for Limbo. I hadn't touched that keg in a long time, and I was like, you know what? So I poured that tap. It tasted better. All that's probably though in my mind because I had won a medal off that beer. So the California Common competed under Tap Rush last year, and for that one we were getting right around mid 30s. I feel like we were on the right track. A lot of notes saying that we were a little bit on the sweet side and that there was some astringency. It's kind of funny on a couple competitions. One judge would say that it was astringent, and then another one says that it wasn't. I myself picked up on some astringency, so I tend to agree with that. I kind of felt like it was a little bit closer to the upper 30s as far as the style went. You know, maybe the higher end, like 38, 39 personally. But, you know, I mean, being a couple points off, everybody tastes something different. And generally, I think I normally score things a little bit higher, even when I'm judging other people's beers, than a judge would, a certified judge would. So time to talk about the Berliner Weisse. So this year when we went to scoring a 31.5 all the way up to 36, same batch, and a lot of the notes were that it needed to be more sour, higher carbonation needed. So what had happened was I zoned out. I got too busy doing other things, looking at other things, all that, not paying attention to what was going on, and I ended up bottling the lowest scoring one, the 31.5, a week before turn-in, and I had already missed the drop-off for that, so I personally went to go drive those things down myself to the competition to drop them off, and that was not, I guess it wasn't necessary, but I still had a good time. It was a good learning experience, dropping it off during sorting day, helping those guys out, kind of seeing another point in how the sausage is made, so to speak, with competitions. Let's see here. Yep, that's all I got on that one. I've scored all the way up to 44 on the same style before. Pretty much the same recipe. This is one that I was using a different yeast strain, a different lactose strain. So the base recipe was the same as far as the malts and the percentages went. Just kind of trying to change some things up there and see how it happened, or see what would happen, I guess, so to speak. The next one, the Czech Pils, or Bohemian Pilsner. That one, see here, entered into a couple competitions under a couple different styles. So this is one that I felt like it kind of teetered on a couple different styles after I brewed it and you know, kind of was sampling it and pulling out the BJCP style to see exactly where to put it. So I put it in under International Pale Lager, Czech Pale, and then Czech Premium in a couple different competitions. It didn't do very well. So as an International Pale Lager, it scored a 23. As a Czech Pale, it scored a 25 in one competition and a 37 in another. And then a Czech Premium 27. So I'm really kind of unfamiliar with the actual like individuals of those styles. I only looked them up like the once or twice to enter them into a competition, see where they would fall. Like I said, there was a couple of them that I felt it was kind of close to, but wanted to see where it ended up. Again, with judging, like I wasn't gonna wrap up too many things into this because it wasn't something that I was throwing on the circuit really regularly. It was just something like, hey, I brewed this, let me see kind of just where it would fall. I would probably want to spend a year or so of entering this across a couple of competitions to have a better data point. I will tell you that the notes all pretty much said the same thing across all the styles, and that was too sweet, it was too low carb, and it had a low bitterness effect in it. So with all three of those styles saying the same thing, I kind of felt like it was out of balance too after I brewed it. It was my first attempt at like the Bohemian Pils, Czech Pilsner Pils kind of style that I did feel like it was out of balance. It was my first shot at that style, that makeup or whatever of the beer, and so I think I did an okay job. Definitely need to revisit that and play around with some stuff there, you know, and just maybe start off from square one and say, hey, you know, is my water chemistry great? Okay, you know, how much malt do I need to add or subtract here, and just start reworking it. Maybe not rewrite the whole recipe, just kind of rework it there. So a Saison, one of my favorite styles that I've grown to love. Started off the competitions circuit with a 27. That kind of hurt my feelings a little bit. So then after that, it was pretty much scoring 35s to 38s regularly after that. Some of the notes that I pulled from here, and so this is a beer that I actually not only sent off to some competitions, I shared with some friends. Not everybody really likes the style that I know, so there's a few people that I do know that I was like, hey, you know, tell me what you think of this, because I'm thinking about entering it, or I'm entering it regardless of what you say or whatever. So most people seem to really like it. In fact, I sent it off to Gnome from the Gnome Brewing channel, and he absolutely loved it. He and I, we exchanged a lot of notes and thoughts on it, but one of the notes that I pulled that kind of made me laugh was that it had low notes of mustiness, that it was light struck, and that it was phenolic and estery, but it needs more funk. The high notes on this one was, let's see here. So there was one competition, the one that it scored the highest, you know, the 38, was that the only thing that they said that was lacking was there was no Belgian lacing, and it seemed to have a small bit of sulfur, but they were saying that the phenolics and the esters were all under control, and it was a pretty good balanced beer. So I took more pride in that score than I did the 27, of course. The 27 definitely hurt my feelings. That one, if you look on the actual score sheets, you can see that the certified judge kind of pushed the non-certified judge around on the table a little bit with some verbiage and stuff like that. I don't know. I mean, I kind of hate to say like, oh well, those judges didn't know what they were doing, but I feel like they don't know what they were doing on that particular table. And you know, that's the thing that kind of sucks, is especially when you're judging things, you should probably put down more than about 2 to 3 things per box. Don't put down light struck and musty. You know, tell me the things that you're liking and the things that you dislike. and then let's build it out from there. You know, let's have an expansion of knowledge and exchanging of ideas and stuff on those. I'm paying you $10 to not just beat up my beer, but kind of help guide me. And I don't think that those score sheets really helped me as a brewer. Not that I'm complaining about the low score, it's just I feel like they didn't do their job either if they feel like I didn't do my job as a brewer. So anyways, the wood aged version of the Saison scored a 43. Super ecstatic about that. On this one, the basically the low notes of it was that needed just a touch more hops. It was a little low bitterness. That they would have really liked to see a touch more of wood and hops overall. And my personal notes, because I got to taste it throughout the whole year or so, was that it was very interesting how it tasted throughout the spectrum. So the Saison and this wood aged one were beers that I brewed in the collaboration with Cascade Brewer, and together, you know, we sat down, we tasted all these beers, and we were kind of like thinking about, oh well, this one should score better in a competition, and this one should, and this and that. Well, the wood aged one, I thought it felt like it was over oaked. It tasted too oaky, and it finally mellowed out. And so then I just started sending it out to some competitions. You know, it was hanging out right there at kind of the upper 30s, lower 40s there. So in my opinion, I'm super happy with the way that beer turned out. It's definitely become a treat as time has gone on. I definitely need to kind of go back and playing with some of the ideas that I expressed there. I think that there's a lot to be made up and come to desire later on after aging time. So kind of the things that I've learned overall experiencing the circuit. I need to track things better. So one of the goals was that I was going to sit down and enter every competition on the circuit and get at least 2 beers in there. Some competitions I limited it out at like say 12 entries. Some of them, you know, were a little less than that. Ended up missing 2 competitions this year, getting sidetracked, doing other things, getting involved in other things. You know, really, that all falls on me. I should have kept a kind of little tighter control over that. Was it the end of the world? No, absolutely not. You know, did I miss some critical data points maybe that I would have gotten on some beer? Possibly. Did I miss out on a medal or 2? Possibly. I don't know. You don't know what you don't know as far as that goes. So I'm not going to beat myself up too hard on that, but I should start with tracking that, right? So the next thing is that I need to track better are my brewing and my brews and the score sheets. So what I've gone and done is I started kind of my own like little quote-unquote program. When I receive a score sheet, I go back to that recipe file in Beersmith, and under the notes I like to put where I entered it in, what the date of the competition was, basically the award ceremony, right? And what the score was for that, and then kind of maybe a few notes that I'm starting to see trend. I'll take those score sheets and I'll put them in a binder, and then kind of what I did at the end of this year was I went and pulled all the score sheets for that beer, kind of went over them and said, okay, this is the reoccurring trend here, you know, so these other things are things that are not necessary, such as something that's a little musky and light stricken for a Saison that is estery and phenolic. You know, so go ahead and throw those comments out because those mean nothing. Now, after all that said and done, though, I am missing some data. There were some that didn't make it into the pile, you know, again, got sidetracked, and etc, etc, etc. You know, I wanted to talk about the rye IPA this that I brewed earlier, and the video came out not too long ago on, and a few other beers, but I just lost track of those things. I couldn't retrieve them through the competition websites because they've already been cleared out of the data or whatever the case may be. So I need to do better with that. I really need to make it an active part of doing it. But after all that's said and done, overall, I'm very happy with the performance of the way that things have been trending for myself personally, and the way that things have been trending also for the club members that I see try new things and try new styles and all that. I think everybody's becoming a better brewer, partially due to some of these competitions. Not always these competitions, but partially because of these competitions. I'm not full-fledged competition or like a competitor, right? I'm not all in. I'm not trying to win the individual circuit, you know, position or anything like that. What I'm trying to do, honestly, is I feel like if I can start getting in those mid-30s, you know, lower 40s, mid-40s area, right, the 10 points or so, you know, 35 to 45, scoring regularly on a particular recipe, I'm heading in the right direction, at least as far as style comprehension goes. Now, just because it's out of style doesn't necessarily make it a bad beer, and so I'm trying to look at some of these things and say, look, man, I've been a little competition focused lately. I need to kind of maybe come up with some throwdown beers and some throwdown recipes just to play around with and have fun with it. Not that I'm not having fun with these, but you know, like I said earlier, though, overall, I'm very happy with the way that the performance of this year went. For, again, not only myself, but my brew club, the Bay Area Masternauts, a bunch of individual friends that have succeeded, like, just totally awesome. So, with all that said, thank you guys so very much for coming to check me out and hang out with me and talk about this. If you're competing and you're doing well or you're not doing well, you know, throw down a comment down there. I'd love to see it and talk about it and see how everybody else is doing. You know, what's your favorite styles that you're competing in, and what successes have you had? You know, I find the subject very awesome and interesting. So we're closing in pretty quickly here on 500 subscribers. If you haven't taken the opportunity to subscribe, it seems about 50% of my viewership hasn't. So please take a moment, subscribe. I'd really like to hit 500 before the end of the year. We're so close. Please just help me hit that 500. I think that would be an awesome, like, validation point towards the end of the year. So cheers, everyone. We'll catch you next time.